Hi folks, in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about leaving a campaign. So unfortunately, sometimes you find yourself in a situation that you have to leave a campaign before it's finished. And I'm going to talk about a couple of different examples and kind of group them into external reasons and internal reasons. So what do I mean by that? Well, external are something else in your life means that you need to leave the campaign. You're moving, your schedule changed, something in your life that you can no longer dedicate the time to sit at the table and play. And then internal are things happening with the table. So whether it's your own personal, something about this campaign or this group isn't a good fit for you. All right, so talking about the external stuff. So if you find yourself in a situation where you are having to move for whatever reason, maybe your work schedule has changed and suddenly the night that you always got together to game, you're no longer available because you have to work a shift that night. You had a kid and suddenly committing to a game every week is too much. I think kind of the first step would be to tell the rest of your group, to give them a heads up and let them know what is going on. It lets the group know, even if nothing else can be done, that you're not leaving because of something that they did. It's just life, as well as it also gives an opportunity for the rest of the group maybe to say, hey, we can move the game from Tuesday night to Wednesday night if that means that you can still keep playing. Or, if it's a situation where it's not as easily to just move the time of the game or something, they might be able to say, hey, I understand if you can't dedicate consistent time. We'd still love to have you when you can, and be like a guest appearance type thing. Also with this then allows your game master a chance, especially if you can let the rest of the group know ahead of time with as much lead up as you can. That then allows the game master a chance to maybe find a nice end to your character's story, kind of, instead of just all of a sudden this character disappears and is gone. Maybe there's some reason why your character has left the group. And it also gives your group a chance to say goodbye to your character and also goodbye to you. Maybe that last session that you're going to be playing gets to be like a really fun goodbye. Everybody gets their moment to say farewell to the character that you're playing, and maybe the players want to do some kind of farewell thing with the player. I've definitely done that when I've had folks who have had to leave the group because they were moving across the country or just life got in the way and they could no longer game, and it's nice to have that little nice wrap-up moment. All right, so let's move on to maybe the harder to handle side, which is if you have an internal kind of conflict that is making you want to leave the group. So if it's a matter of, you don't feel like a good fit, and maybe we'll do a video talking about, if we've done it, I'll link it up here, do a video talking about how to tell if the group is right for you. But if you're running into something about this campaign, whether it's the play style, the system, maybe it's the character that you're playing, is not a good fit for you anymore. I do think if you feel like you can, to bring this up with the group, because especially if it's a system setting or even character thing, there might be adjustments that can be made. Maybe your group says, oh, hey, nobody's really attached to this system. If this system is just causing you a lot of stress because it does not make sense to you, sure, we can move over to another system. Or they can say, well, we really want to wrap up this campaign, but if we run a different system, we'll let you know. Now, if you feel like you need to leave the group because there is internal conflict, there's a specific player, or you don't personally mesh with the players, I don't think you necessarily need to give an explanation for why you're leaving, especially if you do not feel comfortable, you do not feel safe bringing this up. And that might be the case if there is another person at the table that is maybe being very aggressive or abusive in their play style. In that case, just say, hey, I'm leaving. And you don't have to give an answer. You don't owe it to anybody to give an answer at that point. Now, if there are other people in the group that you are still close with, you might say like, hey, I'm leaving the group, and if you want to know why, I will let you know why. Now, as I kind of say in a lot of these videos, if you can, try and talk to the other players before just up and leaving. There might be a solution. You might find that everybody else in the group, except for the problem player, all agrees that that's the problem player. And maybe you all sit down and have a talk with them, or maybe you decide we're going to go over and play a different game and maybe not invite that person. Whatever it is, if you can address it ahead of time, I think that's great. If not, it's a game. It's supposed to be fun. And if it's not fun, and especially if it's adding stress to your life, then I think it's completely reasonable to leave the game. Your own mental well-being is more important than a game. Sometimes, ultimately, you just have to leave a campaign because it is not a good fit for you, whether it's because of where you are in your life, because of an outside force that is forcing you to leave the game, or if something at the table is outweighing the enjoyment you have being at the table and making it into a stressful situation. At that point, it might just be best to say, I'm sorry, I have to leave the game for personal reasons. And then if there's someone at the table that you do still feel close and comfortable with, maybe going into details with them. But in my opinion, you don't owe an explanation to anybody. And I will say leaving a game is tough. It is difficult to say goodbye to not only the people that you might enjoy playing with, but also saying goodbye to the character that you've created. So, allow yourself that moment to kind of say goodbye, maybe grieve a little the loss of whatever it is that you're leaving behind, and then you can work on finding the next group or the next game. All right, so that's some advice on how to approach if you need to leave a game. Have you ever had to leave a campaign? How did it work out for you? Let's talk more about it down in the comments below. A big thanks to our patrons, especially Bryce. If you want to support our channel, you can head over to our Patreon page and check out the perks of being a patron. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you give it a like and subscribe because we make videos here every week. You can also check out our Patreon, and don't forget to follow us on our social media so you can see all of the cool things that we're up to. All right, I'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative. Bye! Entirely, then I think it's entirely, wow, I cannot say entirely.